Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today we're going to talk about how to whale smarter. So let me just say from the outset, I feel very uncomfortable giving any advice about how to spend money with this game. And that's simply because there's no right or wrong answer to whether or not you should spend money on a game. And frankly, this is not something you should do if you are not in a situation where spending, let's say, $30 means nothing to you. If you don't, the way I would look at spending money in this game is the same way I would think about spending money on alcohol at a bar, spending money on, you're spending money on bottle service at a club, spending money on totally frivolous entertainment. Like, okay, I'm going to go whatever, doing something silly. I'm going to spend money on movies, whatever you want to spend money on. This is just entertainment. And if you don't have an entertainment budget that includes spending money on some video game, then please don't do so. Be very, very careful about the amount of money that you spend in a game, and go in advance knowing like, hey, this is how much money I intend to spend, or I know how much I'm spending this. This fits in with my budget, okay? So let's talk about this. I get this question constantly. How did I whale? What do I whale? What should you whale on the game? I'm not telling you what you should whale on, but if you're going to spend money on this game, what I would say is a few things. You should be spending it carefully and thoughtfully. You should not just buy these offers are horrible. You shouldn't just buy random offers that you see, first of all. Second of all, you should know both your budget in advance, and you should know where your spot is in the game. And here's what I mean. What you whale on in this game differs depending on whether you're spending $1 a month versus $100 a month. It also differs depending on whether you're in the early game versus the late game. So let's just say you're somebody who is like, I am only going to be spending $20 a year on this game, $10 a year on this game. Well, then what you're on the lookout for is the very, very best offers that this game has. And those are things like this, okay? This offer you get when you reach 200,000 total collection power, TCP. You get this offer for $1. You get all this stuff, okay? This is a very good deal in the context of their deals. Now, paying $1 for any computer game or mobile game may not be a good idea, but if you're going to spend $1 in this game, in the context of the game, it's a great deal. People ask all the time to me as well, by the way, where do I get information about what's a good deal or not a good deal? Mobile Gamer does streams every day and puts out videos with his offer review. I think he does a good job. It's all arbitrary, but he's saying what he likes or doesn't like. On my Discord, we have a channel where we discuss offers. On the Voltage/Beginner Discord, there's a channel where they discuss offers. But the bottom, so on a day-by-day basis, you can go there. But you want to be on the lookout for these special deals, like super sweet deals. And you'll probably know them when you see them, where you're getting a lot of stuff for $1 or a lot of stuff for $5. If you're somebody who's only spending $1 a month on this game, like this is the sort of stuff you're going to want to be on the hunt for. But if you're able to spend a little more than that, okay, probably the best thing to invest in is going to be the Strike Pass, okay? And the reason why is you get so much stuff in exchange for the cost, right? So, you're paying whatever it is, $20 a month, at least in American dollars. And put aside this character, like even if you don't like Kitty Pryde, don't care about Kitty Pryde, right? If you just look at all this other crap that you get, it's in the context of this game, it's a good deal. In other words, we can debate endlessly whether spending $20 for this makes sense in real life. But if you're going to spend $20 a month on this game, this is a pretty good way of spending it. These gold promos, you've seen the offers. I'll show you some later. They're like they charge you, whatever. $1 bazillion for these gold promos. In Scopely next speak, this is probably worth $20 on its own, okay, in their world, right? SBCs, if you go and you look in the game, you can see how much they charge you for SBCs. Like if you just go look for like a standard SBC offer in this game, you can go here and find, okay? And you look at how much they charge you, $20 for 100 of these, okay? This is a ridiculous thing, by the way, that I would never buy. But the point is, if you go to here, you're going to get a lot more SBCs. This would cost you, $10 on its own, right? Or more than $10. All of these would cost you a lot if you paid the Scopely Next prices. So this is a very good deal. And the other pass here, the Strike Pass, so that Battle Pass is the better deal. This one is still also a very good deal within Scopely Next world. If you're going to pay $20 or $40, these are the best deals, and they deliberately set them up that way so that you're getting stuff. As you can see, this is almost $30. This is over $30, between $30 and $40 worth of stuff just in this one square, right? And then you get this and all the other stuff you're getting. They purposely make it so it's kind of like they're trying to turn this into more of a subscription model where people who don't spend are going to spend at least $20 or $40 a month on these passes. So these are the best deals. What if you're like, well, Philosopher, I don't want to whale on those, or I want to whale a little more. Let's say your budget's $50 a month, $60 a month. What is the other stuff that I should be whaling on? And one thing I would just say is, it is totally unsexy, but perhaps the best thing to be whaling on is energy. And a very efficient way to get energy is to do these refreshes. Everybody should be doing the 50 core energy refreshes every day. And even if you're free to play, you can generally afford to do at least some, if not all, depending on how well you do in arena, of your 50 core refreshes. That's 200 cores a day, because you get cores from a number of different places in the game. But if you whale out, you can do the 100 core refreshes, okay? And the way you whale out is you get these power cores, and you buy them $100 at a time, because that's the best deal, or whatever the highest quantity you can afford, because you get some discount on them. You get 15% off if you buy 100. Now, this is spending $100 on power cores. Is that a good deal? In real world, who knows, right? It depends on how much $100 is worth to you. But in the context of this game, unless you can get some special offer that has a better deal for power cores, getting these power cores means that you can do these refreshes and get more energy. Why is energy so helpful? Well, you just can go to a node and see all the stuff that energy gives you, right? So, if you go here, the energy gives you experience if you're not already at maximum level, which is nice. It gives you gold, which is the bottleneck. It gives you purple gear. This is an orange unique and orange gear. All of these are bottlenecks. A basic orb, which gives you shards and gold, which can be bottlenecks. And then training mats, which are bottlenecks. So it's a way of dealing with a lot of different problems at the game at the same time. If you're low on training mats, energy solves it. If you're low on gold, energy solves it. It's generally better than buying gold, buying training mats. It usually works out better for you. So in my opinion, no matter what stage of the game you're at, buying energy can be a very good idea. I still do it, and I'm at the end game. And for early players, it provides even more of a benefit because they get XP and they can grow in level. So that on a budget, I think, is a very smart investment. So, another really good investment if you're early game, but it's not as much of an issue late game, is the sort of catch-up mechanic offer. So there's a lot of these. This one's in British pounds, but you get the idea. This is a ton of Asgardians. On the left here, this is a 4-star Asgardian team. So it takes you very far along the way of getting Black Bolt. And, essentially this gets you to a spot where, you can catch up to players who have already gotten Black Bolt by, getting, most of the way there just through one offer, right? Well, as long, you can check the pricing on them, but these can be, quote unquote deals in the context of this game if you're somebody who's willing to spend money to, quote, catch up. What I will say is that these deals only make sense if you're whaling out quite a bit, okay? In other words, if you're spending over, let's say $100 a month or whatever. And they only really make sense if you're in a hurry as a new player to get a particular team. In other words, this is a good team to get because, they unlock Black Bolt, which can unlock Ebony Maw and so forth. But, there's some teams that are more valuable than others. Okay. So for example, Minerva now, they have this is a catch-up mechanic for Minerva. I'm less excited about this because Minerva you could just get in the war store if you're a newer player, and she's less, central to everything. Okay. Here's one that's even worse. This is an awful offer. Sinister Six. Sinister Six do unlock Shuri and Invisible Woman, but to be very blunt, these characters are all easily farmable. 75 shards ain't that many. $75 is a lot of money. And, I know content creators sometimes emphasize this to new players. I wouldn't. I don't think Shuri and Invisible Woman are core characters at this point. Even Black Bolt is, not as central, or Maw aren't central like they used to be, but they're at least more important, I would say, than those two. So, to me, you can get carried away with this, and this is really, I think, meant for people with very deep pockets who want to very quickly get from one place to another. In my mind, really, if you're really going to be focused on trying to get ahead and catch up, what you actually want to do is you want to focus on getting specific characters. Now, this is what I'll call a standard offer in Scopal Next speak, right? This is 50 shards plus some random crap for $30. It's an awful, awful, awful deal. And this is a traditional one that new players used to always buy because you can't get Hela easily as a newer player, and she's important for unlocking 3 different legendaries. And, frankly, even to unlock her node, a lot of people want to use the character to unlock the node because there aren't good choices. So it's an issue for new players, and it's still if you're a whale, it can be a reasonable purchase. But you can also purchase these for characters that are more essential in the game and are also harder to get. And here's what I mean. So in this game, the Marvel Strike Force and Scopal Next is, quote, generous, and I'm putting that in quotes, compared to some other mobile games, at giving you characters if you're around and playing and far enough along in the game when they debut. Here's what I mean. Everybody got this character last month. I'm recording this in June of 2021. Everyone got Kestrel for free last month if you were far enough along to be able to run the event campaign on the hard mode, on the hard nodes, and you could get this character to 4 stars for free. It's a great deal because she's arguably the best character in the game. But if you weren't there, you are totally screwed. If you start the game next month, if you're starting it right now in June or in July, you're not getting Kestrel for free. She's unfarmable anywhere, and they may make her unfarmable for 6 months or for a year. So, for example, this character right here, Emma Frost, I got her for free from Milestones. I think I bought some offers, but you would have gotten her to 5 or 6 stars for free if you maxed out all the gold milestones, I'm sure, over all the different events. But this was like a year ago, and since then she's never been farmable. And so the characters that are really good in this game often get debuted in a way where everyone can get them to 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, right? Everyone was able to get Silver Surfer for 2 stars for free, etc., right? Phyla-Vell you're able to get for 4 stars. Moondragon people have been getting, free-to-play players have been getting for 3 or 4 stars. But yet, they're not farmable for a period of time. So if you're starting the game right now in June, buying an offer for a character like Kestrel could potentially make sense for you and get you a lot further than buying some bulk shards of Asgardians, because she's not farmable. You can always farm the Asgardians, but you can't farm Kestrel, and she's super, super powerful. It allows you to have this character, which you can put your gear on and take to DD2, DD3, DD4, and then someday when she does become farmable, you'll have the gear on her already instead of putting the gear on Asgardians. So that, I think, for a newer player is a much smarter way to spend money, even though it may seem like a bad deal in the abstract, to get, let's say, 50 shards to unlock a character like this. I think in the long run, that may actually be a savvier thing to do, if that makes any sense. Now, if you're an experienced player and you want to whale out, you're basically, other than like the energy and looking out for the special deals, you're going to want to look out for things where, there are opportunities for even experienced players to have, stuff that can help their account. So as you get more senior in the game, or further along, you get to a point where you don't need character shards as much, unless it's a very rare, unfarmable character. What you do need are things like cores and red star orbs or ISO or whatever. This is an example of, here you get cores and training. These are training orbs and red star orbs and ISO for $35. Is that a good deal? Well, in the context of this game, yeah, because I think the cores alone cost a good amount of money. But, these are the sort of things, if you're like, my budget is, I'm going to buy the battle pass and the strike pass, and occasionally I'll spend more than that. Well, this would be the occasionally, right? Or something like this, where you get a lot of character shards of, at the time, these were characters that were difficult to get. Zemo, I think, was unfarmable at the time. Sinister's War Store Yo-Yo was unfarmable. This was a good deal, quote, at the time. And I think this was even Canadian. So this was even less than this in US dollars. So these can be good deals at the time, right? Or you go for characters that are just super hard to get, right? A lot of people bought these Surfer shards because he's so difficult to get. He's basically unfarmable. You have to do these raid milestones and so forth. So I think for more experienced players, this is the sort of stuff they're looking for, right? So that's how you whale. That's the stuff you're whaling on. Instead of whaling on, I just need more gold orbs or more whatever, you're trying to get the stuff that you can't possibly farm. You can't possibly like budget your way around. Like, there's just no way to get them otherwise. So, so this is sort of, like I said, for new players, it might be like buying the characters unfarmable. Even for experienced players, at times, like, that may be the right thing to do. As you get to be like a Kraken or whatever, if you get to the point where you're like an end game player, where you have everything at 7 stars, or you've got all these characters maxed out, and you're far along in the game and you're spending more money, then those players are literally buying stuff that can just take their roster up that last percentage. So players who are like Kraken types, like, they already have everything at 7 stars, or they already have lots of orange gear. They already have everything that they would need to get by, and they're just trying to differentiate themselves from the other players who are spending money, and so they're going to buy things like this, right? This is I think was in Canadian. I think this is in Canadian or dollars. So I think this is maybe $75 or dollars in U.S. money, but still, it's a lot of money to spend for one orb on a random character in a game. But we will buy this because it's the only way that you could get an Elite 6, star orb in this game, right? And on a smaller scale, people are buying, gobbling up anything that could give them T4s, even though they're rare, because they're just the only way you can get those in this game. That's the sort of stuff. T4s and red stars at the very, in blue ISO right now, are like the only things that endgame players that are super, super, super endgame can do to differentiate their characters. So other than buying new characters, that's what they're doing. Now, I will say, people do ask me, well, how do you get new character shards? Do you buy those $50, $30, or 50 shards for $30 offers? I do not. As somebody's whaled out in this game, what I do is I buy the initial orb offers, and those are the most cost-effective and efficient way to get characters in this game. If you whale enough where you can buy the initial orbs that give you the characters they give you an average of, so like this orb here gives you an average of 9.25 Phylovel shards per orb. And I often will average higher than that. And that is the better deal. That is the best way of doing it versus spending those offers later on. But it requires you essentially to whale on every new character as they come out. It's easier to do if you have nothing else to whale on. But it takes quite a while to get there. Here's what I would say. This is a game that can be fun no matter what level you're doing it at. It can be fun no matter what you're spending. But as I said at the very beginning, only spend money that means nothing to you in life, that you're willing to piss away on entertainment and view it just as that. Have a plan going in and understand, make sure that when you're spending it, that it's actually something that is getting what you need for your account. To me, that is whaling smarter. If you could even call whaling ever smart in a computer game or video game. All right, guys. Hope that was helpful. If you like this video, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Check out our Discord. It's below. You can give me your thoughts there. Or check out my Twitch stream. That's linked below as well.